Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome to week 9 of the pregnancy. So this week there's a few things that I want to touch on and share with you. And the first point was I kind of had a, not major, but I had a breakdown this week. So I have to give you a little bit of a backstory for you to understand where I'm coming from with this. So during my last pregnancy, I had my first ultrasound at 9 weeks, which is when we found out that the fetus wasn't developing and I had a miscarriage. Prior to that, maybe a week or two though, I had this point come up within me of, or this awareness that the pregnancy wasn't progressing. And I told my partner this one night because I wanted to say something because I didn't know what I was experiencing or what I was becoming aware of, but essentially I just knew that the pregnancy wasn't progressing. Now I didn't know this for a fact. It's just like it came up as an awareness within me that things weren't progressing. And I, at the time, assumed it was a fear, assumed it was a worry, although there wasn't a lot of like that fear energy around it. It was just like a point of simply a knowing the pregnancy wasn't progressing. And so when we had the ultrasound and that it confirmed that, I was like, wow, like that's my body communicated that to me. I was aware of my body in that moment and I knew that the pregnancy wasn't progressing. Fast forward to now, or to this last week, I had a similar moment where I thought the pregnancy isn't progressing. I even felt literally like empty inside. I felt different in my body. I felt like something changed, something shifted, and I thought I had another miscarriage. And within that though, this confusion arose of, is that legitimate? Is this really happening, or am I just messing with myself? I didn't know. And what it kind of opened up and revealed was this point of, I don't really have that level of communication with my body. Although the pregnancy and for the last year, I would say, I have been opening up this channel, if you will, or this awareness or understanding that my body and I have a relationship, and my body, I can communicate with my body and my body can communicate with me. I consider that my body is not functioning separate to me or my awareness. It's just a matter of what I'm actually aware of, which isn't much in terms of the totality of my body and its functionings on all levels. The pregnancy and just in general my life's process and what I've been busy with the last 10 to 12 years has been a process of developing a physical awareness of my body, being very much grounded in my body. And with the pregnancy, I considered this was a really cool opportunity for me to start listening to my body and to start developing that relationship, to start developing that communication. So what happened was, with this idea this week that I miscarried, I was devastated. I was like literally like a breakdown. I didn't mention it to my partner right away because I feared it to be true and I didn't want to influence him or distract him from what he was doing, or, you know, because if I was wrong, if it was just in my head, I didn't want him to have to carry that burden too. So I didn't say something initially, but it was so in me and of me and as me, I couldn't like just pretend. My partner and I very much have a relationship where we can tell immediately if the other person is holding something that they're not communicating, or it's just like you could tell that I was acting differently. I was distracted. I wasn't completely present with him or in my day because I had this thing kind of distracting me, keeping me busy, keeping my attention and my focus. The next day I told him what my experience was, what I was looking at, how I thought I had miscarried, and I broke down and I sobbed, and it was a really like unloading of a buildup of emotional energy of just worry and fear. And ultimately though, through discussing it with my partner, what I realized, what opened up and clarified for me and being able to speak about it with him, was that the real reaction I was having was to not knowing if I was communicating with my body or my body was communicating with me. It wasn't really about the miscarriage. It was actually about, I didn't know if I was aware of my body on that level or if I was just messing with myself. And so it opened up this whole point of, I don't have that relationship with my body, and I have a judgment towards myself for that. I think that I should have this level of awareness or this level of relationship with my body. I should know what my body's going through. I should know what my body needs. I should know what my body is saying to me. But it's kind of wrapped up in this idea of what I think communicating with my body is, you know? So it was an interesting, tough week in that regard. There was a few days of kind of emotional all over the place. But once that awareness came through and that realization that actually this is the problem, and then within that what I realized was that I was overcomplicating this idea of what it means to communicate with my body, and then the realization of it's as simple as don't overeat, because when I overeat I get nauseous. That's my body communicating to me. If I eat too much food and then my body or my stomach is like all tore up and I feel nauseous and I'm just like so completely physically uncomfortable, that's my body saying, don't do that. That is not good for us. We don't like that. So it's like, that is how I can start developing this awareness and this communication with my body, is to start listening to these simple moments where there's a physical feedback, where if I eat something and my body responds, I just simply have to pay attention. I just need to slow down and observe and feel what my body is doing with what I'm putting into it, or what I'm putting into my mind, or what I'm communicating about even. It's just a point of developing that awareness of these moments where my body is in a more direct way communicating with me, and I can listen to that and I can honor those moments. That's how I strengthen that communication. So that was an interesting experience, and it really just goes to show that I'm definitely in this process of getting to know what it means to have a relationship with my body, what it means to communicate with it, what it means to honor it in terms of what my body needs, putting my body's needs before my own emotional needs, like overeating. Like sometimes I want to just indulge and binge, but my body's like, please, that does not serve us. We don't like that. So, you know, it's just a point of learning how to trust my body, listen to my body, honor my body. So that's definitely a process I'm currently walking, and I'm grateful for, and realizing I can just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be this complicated, sophisticated relationship where I'm like tuning into my body's like verbal cues. You know, it's just a point of being aware of how my body physically feels. From that, I did decide regarding, as mentioned in the previous vlog, genetic testing. We decided to proceed with the public option in getting genetic testing, because in Canada, with the publicly funded genetic testing for women 35 years or older, it comes with an ultrasound. I am 35, just turned 35 in May, so I qualify for this ultrasound, and we decided, because of our history with the miscarriage and, you know, me having the experience I did this last week, we decided why not have the public's funded option so that we can have that ultrasound. The ultrasound is to test for any genetic abnormalities, but ultimately we'll also be able to see the baby, see the heartbeat, making sure everything's kind of proceeding. So that's what we decided to do. Ultimately, I think I could have passed on the genetic testing, like it wasn't a strong desire I had to have that done. I'm not really interested in finding out the sex before I give birth, so to even use it for that reason, I wasn't really interested. So I think the fact that I wasn't going to do the genetic testing, why not do the public? Because we get the ultrasound, and ultimately that's what we're really interested in. So we're going to take that route. We have our first ultrasound then a few weeks away, and I have to do a couple blood draws for that. And yeah, so I'll keep you posted with how that progresses and how that unfolds. And then yeah, I guess the next point is I have my first appointment with the midwives this Friday, which I'm very much looking forward to. I spoke to my midwife yesterday, and it's a little different because of the whole COVID stuff. So the first 30 minutes will be just on the phone outside of the clinic, just going over some stuff, and then the last 15 minutes I'll go into the clinic. They'll check my blood pressure and listen to the heartbeat. So I'm really excited about that because I thought maybe it was still too early. I'll be about 10.5 weeks at the appointment, but she said we'll listen to the heartbeat. So I'm really excited about that. that, and I'm gonna bring my camera along with that, so hopefully I can record some of that and share it in next week's vlog. Oh, last thing, I did have another dream this week about the sex of the baby, and this time it was a boy. So I guess it's a boy or girl, we'll find out. I guess come April we'll find out. So that's it for this week. Thanks for walking with, and hope you all are well, and we'll see you next week.